Hey there, everybody. This is Christopher Carroll, or Critical Ray, as my subscribers know me. And today I'm be doing a different type of video. I'm going to be doing a school assignment, which is I had to read Batman 3 Jokers and analyze it. So let's get started. Batman 3 Jokers was published by DC Comics. It was written by Geoff Johns. The art was done by Jason Fabok. Colors were done by Brad Anderson. Letters were done by Rob Lee. The covers were also done by Geoff Johns and Brad Anderson. If you don't know what letters are, or lettering, what I mean by that is basically letters, all this, like the sound effects, the bubbles, the wording. That's what lettering is. So that's what Rob Lee did. This graphic novel is made up of 161 pages. This series was originally a 3-issue miniseries that they eventually combined together and made into this graphic novel. Act 1 is pages 1 through 46. Act 2 is pages 47 through 95. Act 3 is pages 96 through 161. This does follow your typical act structure, 3-act structure, with Act 1 being the shortest and Act 2 and 3 being the longest and concluding the story, with Act 3 and Act 2 is like setting up subplots and stuff like that. So a little bit about Batman 3 Jokers. The basic plot of this is Batman, Red Hood, and Batgirl are forced to figure out how there are 3 Jokers in the world and stop them all. That's the basic plot of it. Typically, Batman is the main character, and obviously, Batman wants to stop Joker. That's his goal. But for this, I'm going to talk about what Joker's is, because Joker is heavily involved in this storyline, and honestly, it feels like more of a Joker and Jason Todd storyline than just a Batman storyline. So in this, Joker wants to create a better Joker, one that will be a forefront in Batman's, life, and basically possibly turn him over to villainy and really destroy him as a person. And so Joker thinks that Jason Todd is that perfect, candidate. So he kidnaps Jason Todd, then tries to, turn him into the next Joker. And that's Joker's goal throughout this storyline, is just to create a better Joker. So a little bit about this graphic novel. This graphic novel did have a really good story arc, in my opinion. It had a beginning, middle, end, and a resolution that really wrapped up the story nicely. This is a one-off story in the DC world, so honestly, everything that happens to these characters in this graphic novel will probably never happen or tie into anything of the bigger storylines that DC puts out. And the author does a great job of answering all the questions, but not rushing to answering. What I mean by rushing is, you can always tell when the author, sets up a question, then forgets to answer until the end, and then he's like, oh shit, I forgot to answer that, so let's make up a bullshit, reasoning on why this is getting answered now. The author did a great job of that, and I really appreciate it for it. So now we're going to talk about probably one of my favorite things about being a writer or watching films or seeing stories unfold, and that is the character arcs. If there's a really good character, I get really invested in them, and I love to see that arc. In this one, we do have a arc for Batman, Joker, and Red Hood. We have a small one for Batgirl, but not really, and I'm just not going to talk about that. But I am going to talk about the 3 arcs that we encounter for those 3, for Batman, Red Hood, and Joker. Let's start off with Batman. Batman has always been the, distant, crime-fighting vigilante that doesn't ever want to, open up to people, or, he carries the whole world on his shoulders. This graphic novel was brilliant in the way that they opened it up and showing Batman and all his scars while he's being patched up by Alfred. We get to see how he acquired these scars, who gave them to him. But then we go into the night of his parents dying, and how that scar has never fully healed, and he, that's what set him on this path, and it will always be there. But his big character arc is, this whole storyline of him is coming to terms with how this, how he got on this path. Every decision that he's made hasn't been perfect. He is the reason that Jason Todd was kidnapped by Joker and basically killed by him, and then, injured by him, and then Barbara, it's the same thing for that. But he learns that, the only way he's ever going to patch that hole in his heart or that scar up is if he learns what happened and why Joe Chill did the things that he did, and then he ultimately ends up forgiving him. Then Jason Todd's arc is, he was kidnapped by Joker when he was Robin, beat to death. They thought he was dead. They buried him alive. He turned out he wasn't. He came back. He hated Batman, blamed Batman for everything. Then he became the Red Hood. Then he gets kidnapped by Joker again. Learns that Joker wants him for his plan to become the new Joker. He ends up getting free, killing one of the Jokers, saying that he is, very like, almost, he's similar to Joker in a lot of ways, and he never wanted to realize it. And the only way he won't be, because he doesn't want to be, is to change that. And that's his character arc. Is at the end we see him trying to figure out how he can go about life without crossing over that line again. Then with Joker, we learn, his character arc is he realizes that he doesn't need a better Joker. There will never be a better one than him. And for that, he realizes that he can be, Batman will always be his yin to his yang, and, that dynamic will never change. And so he stops his quest to find a way to create a better Joker. Now we're going to get into the artwork of this graphic novel. The artwork in this graphic novel is spectacular. It really brings the story to life and uses some of the most effective transitions that I have ever seen in a graphic novel. Granted, I haven't read a lot of them, but this month I have read more than I normally would have, and I have learned transitions. So, for those of you who don't know what transitions are, they are the seamless artwork that move from panel to panel. It helps engage the reader and make it easier for them to follow along with the story. Now, for the most part, the readers know where and when they are in the world of the story. But there's one place that, you know where they are, but it kind of took me out of the thing, because it's just, I'm going to show it here. It's basically right here. You get to see Jason Todd laying, then it's black, and then he's awake. I don't quite understand why they went that route, but they did, and that's the only thing that took me out of the story. Everything else was seamless, and I never left the story at all. I was engaged during the whole graphic novel, which is a good thing. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the different transitions that I saw, and then I'm going to show off some of the ones out of this graphic novel that really stuck out. First one, I'm going to list them off. You got movement to movement is one of the ones that I saw. Action to action, scene to scene, and aspect to aspect. Those are the transitions that I saw. So the first one I'm going to show you is movement to movement. Movement to movement is basically when a character is doing basic tasks. It's not really action, but it's like moving a hand, walking a room, that type of stuff. So say like this page right here, it's Batman talking to the Reverend at the Blackgate. So it's like, he walks in, he's smoking, passes a letter. That's movement to movement. The next one I'm going to show off is action to action. It is when the action, it goes across several panels and it keeps the reader involved and it keeps escalating. So these two pages right here would then find the Jokers, all the different clone Jokers. It really gravitates, it pulls your eyes, it really sucks you into the world, it immerses you, and it did a great job. All the action sequences are like this, and it's phenomenal, in my opinion. It really kept me invested in the story. The next one I'm going to do is aspect to aspect. So, actually is, gotta have it, it's right here. So this would be aspect to aspect. All the different, Joker swinging the knife or machete, that would be aspect, because it keeps going, and it's movement by movement. That's aspect. It's close up, it's one scene, it really keeps going. And then the last one I'm going to show off is scene to scene. So in this type of story, scene to scene, it is really unique in the sense of, you know, the artist doesn't do your typical scene to scene where it's like, this is present, so then it jumps 10 years or goes back 10 years. Instead, you know, he shows all flashbacks or the past by changing it up from color to black and white, which is really genius. He does this several times throughout, like, whenever it switches to the backstory of Bruce's parents dying, you know. He goes into black and white. That's what scene to scene would be. And, you know, it's really well done. I like that take. I don't need to know that, oh, this is way back when Bruce is, you know, 15 years ago. I don't need to know that. I can see that Bruce is a kid, and I can see that's the past by the black and white. And, you know, I don't need those triggers. But that would be scene to scene, is that transition without the color, which the colors would have done. While I was reading Batman 3 Jokers, I never really saw how this graphic novel could be taken and made into a mini comic. How a page could be turned into a mini comic. I can't see that. Then with the directional flow for this graphic novel, it was spectacular. You know, the movement and of art combined with the layout and text really immersed the reader into the story, as you could tell as I was talking and showing you pictures of it. Whether it be from Batman, Batgirl, and Red Hood just staying around the Bat computer, or an all-out fight, the reader's eyes never wander ahead, like that fight scene I showed y'all with Joker. You know, you're constantly looking at each panel. Your eyes never look ahead, which is great for, you know, the directional flow. I would personally really definitely recommend this to my classmates, because I think that this is a perfect example of how to do a character arcs in a comic book / graphic novel. The layout and lettering are also things that I think that future writers, artists, or letterers need to look at before tackling their own comics, because, you know, because there's a lot that happens in a lot of the panels, and it could have easily been, you know, distracting, and the letters could not fit in, or the artwork could overpower the letters. I personally didn't find that being the case, and that's why I would recommend it to my classmates. So if any of y'all are watching and you would like to read this, you know, I highly recommend it. It's a great story. It's a standalone, so you don't have to read any of the previous, you know, issues or storylines with Batman. You could literally come in not knowing who Batman and Joker are, and you could probably pick it up and understand what's going on. Then, of course, I would recommend this graphic novel to any of my friends. The story is top-notch, if you couldn't have told by how I'm talking about it. I know that majority of my friends also love the character, the Joker, or Batman. You know, you typically love both of them, but I love Joker more than Batman, in all honesty. So that's why I wanted to read this one. I feel like they would really enjoy it, and would also give them a new look on some of the most beloved or hated, you know, characters in the DC world. Like, if you don't like Joker, this would give you a new perspective and what he wants and how he's going about it. But if you don't like Red Hood, you know, you always thought he was a cocky, arrogant teen when Jason Todd was robbing, you know, this might give you another look on, like, how his personality has evolved, and, you know, get to see that character arc. One thing that I noticed in this graphic novel was the splash pages. I think that they were just great. They really pulled you in to the, you know, the stories. And I had one bookmarked here. Like, that big picture is a splash page, and it leads into a great scene with the three Jokers talking. It's just great, and you can just see Joker just maniacally sitting there thinking. Splash pages were spectacular. There's several great ones in here. And then a fun fact about this is, when I was, you know, reading about the author part of this, Jeff Johns, who is the author of this, like I mentioned early on, he's had a fantastic career writing stories. He has written several graphic novels that have gone on to being New York Times bestsellers, which I didn't know graphic novels even made it onto that list. He also has dabbled in television and the film industry. A few of his current works, while I was looking up, is, you know, he is currently a producer and writer on the show Stargirl. He is also writing the Green Lantern Corps feature film for the DC Universe. And he is a producer and a co-writer with Patty Jenkins for the second Wonder Woman film, Wonder Woman 1984. Also, another little tidbit that I would like to personally see as a DC fan, and I recently got into the DC animation films. I would love to see this, in an animated film like they did Killing Joke. I would love to see that. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this gets me a good grade. Comment down below, let me know what you guys thought of it, and yeah, I have links to all my social medias. If any of my classmates or people viewing this, if y'all would like to go follow me on social media or go to my author website, I'll have all that in the description. And thank you guys for watching. Like it if you liked it, share it with everyone, and hit subscribe if you like more content. Typically not like this, but I could do more if you'd like more of this type of content. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Goodbye.